What's going on? Jebb here, and in today's video, we are going to be talking about a ton of different things. First and foremost, Cathie Wood said that if only 5% of institutions were to invest in Bitcoin, we could see Bitcoin rally by over $500,000. We're also going to be talking about how Solana actually almost got DDoS'd yesterday, bringing into question how decentralized it really is. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about how Plan B, the pseudonymous creator of the stock-to-flow model, says that $69,000 was not the top, and we're going to explain why it was not the top. And we're also going to be doing a bunch of technical analysis on Bitcoin, Solana, Algo, and a few others. We're going to be looking at Polkadot as well, guys. We got a great show lined up for you today. Before you walk away from today's show, you're going to have a much better idea about where Bitcoin is right now and where it's heading next. But I am joined, as always, by my co-host, T.A. Tam. How you doing, Tam?
I am doing swellish.
Swellish?
Swellish.
What does that mean? Can I have a definition of that?
No.
I can't?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, all right. He's doing swellish. We're also joined, as always, by Smay. How you doing, Smay?
I'm not doing good.
Aw,
Okay.
why not?
And it has something to do with Tim, but I won't say what it is. Anyways,
Why are you bullying him, Tam?
I'm not. I think he just really likes to try to cause a problem with me on the beginning of the show.
That's
We
probably
are
true.
literally, we hang out all the time outside the show, but the minute these cameras go live, he goes for my throat.
Oh.
They got a
Is that
bromance
what it is?
going on
Is
off
that what
camera,
it was?
guys.
Anyways.
Got a bromance
Anyways,
going
I would
on.
like to shout out members, and due to today being the day that due to today being the day that we announced the winner of the Hall Trophy, which here's a hint right there. Here's a hint right there.
Oh, yeah.
Guys, I would like to shout out our wonderful grandmasters. I'm going to read them as accordingly. Adam Rourke, Dennis
Ooh.
Pizarka, Screwhead, Daniel Walton, Rick4962, Edward Hess, and Matt C. You guys are the lifeblood of this channel, and we love you guys. You guys are amazing.
Thank you guys so much. Awesome. Thank you guys so much for joining the membership. Tim, what are you doing this weekend?
That might have to do with what Smay's disappointed about. I am probably shopping for a new car.
What?
Well, not my car. I just have a new truck. My wife needs a new car.
Oh,
so.
okay.
And I was supposed to go on a fishing trip with Smay, but the wife axed that.
Oof.
So you know.
Well, that sucks. But shout out to Taylor, because she's the one who's moderating chat and who is collecting all of your super chats. And we already have one by Crypto Vet. Thank you very much, Crypto Vet. We're going to read that here in just a little bit. Big shout out to Crypto Vet, and big shout out to the sponsor of today's show, the like button. Consider hitting that like button. Whenever you do that, that helps to support our channel and helps to promote this video on the YouTube algorithm. If you think other people will find this content to be helpful and informational and educational and helping to push you towards financial freedom, then it might help someone else. And this show is actually brought to you by Lux Algo today, so make sure to sign up for Lux Algo if and only if you find it to be helpful when we are doing our analysis a little bit later. It's a paid indicator that I have been using every day for the better part of the last 6 months, and I am a very big fan of it. But let's go ahead and jump right into a bit of a market pulse. We're going to run down what's going on in the top 10. Guys, the last 7 days have been pretty bearish for Bitcoin. About a week ago, we saw Bitcoin jump off the metaphorical cliff, pulled all the way down to $42,000 from where it was trading up above 50. And when it did that, it brought the rest of the cryptocurrency market with it. You can see the vast majority of cryptos in the top 10 are down somewhere between 10 and 20% over the last 7 days. Bitcoin's down 13%, Ethereum's down 10%, Binance Coin down 5%, Tether down 0.08. That's a really big drop for Tether. I'm joking, of course. Solana and Cardano are both down 20% as well. It's funny, I was buying the dip on Cardano and then it kept on dipping. I'm sure you guys can relate to that. That happens every once in a while. Let's take a look at the biggest gainers and the biggest losers. Looks like Celsius Network is the largest gainer today, along with Quant and Loopring and Kadena. All of these are projects that you guys are always asking us about. We're going to be doing more content on all of those in the future, more than likely. But as far as biggest losers, we're looking at Wax, eGold, Tezos, and XDC Network. I'm not very familiar with XDC Network, but the other three I am relatively familiar with. eGold is one that T-Shroom, the winner of the HODL Trophy, is a big fan of. And MyR Exchange, which is the eGold exchange, I believe is back up, right? Right, T-Shroom? Is MyR Exchange back up?
That is correct.
Okay, we got an affirmative on
Can I
that.
say something
Sure, you can.
for all our audience, our fans right now? Guys, if you really like T-Shroom, guess what I ordered the other day? I ordered a camera, a microphone, and everything. So he's officially going to be on camera.
That is a that is a flat out lie. You did not order a camera. We already have the camera.
Sorry, you're right. I didn't order a camera.
We already have the camera.
I ordered all the equipment necessary to have him on the show, so he doesn't have to shout from my background anymore. So if you're excited to see T-Shroom as a permanent member of the show,
he doesn't have to be a parrot anymore. And also, we're getting the other Taylor in here, aren't we?
I think it's going to be the Taylor corner.
We're going to have the Taylor corner.
The Taylor and Taylor desk.
The Taylor and Taylor. A tale of two Taylors. That's what we're going to have happening over there. And it's going to be great because one Taylor is great at reading comments and super chatting and being awesome. And the other Taylor is, well, this guy who has won the HODL trophy. I kind of hate him right now because he took the HODL trophy from me. But, you know, we'll resolve that off camera. I don't want to start too much drama here and, you know, go into too much detail about how he's fired now. No, I'm joking, of course. Let's go ahead and jump onto our chart, though. And we're going to take a look at Solana because I can't stand to look at Bitcoin, guys. I lost the HODL trophy. Very, very sad about that. But we'll get it back. Drop a hashtag team truck in the chat if you think that we're going to get the HODL trophy back next week. But let's go ahead and take a look here at Solana. We're going to take a little bit of an extended snapshot because Solana is one of the big players in today's stream as it was attempted to be DDoS'd. You can see from this headline right over here. We're going to get into this here in just a second. But first, I want to look at the price. As you can see, there was a very long-term uptrending level of support that Solana was holding above, and at the moment, Solana is breaking beneath it. The reason that that's important is because we are seeing Solana break market structure. What are you two laughing at over there?
Nothing.
Okay.
Keep going.
Okay, never mind. Guess I can't say that. But we are looking at Solana breaking a long-term uptrending level of support, and it breaking that market structure is one of the reasons why I think a lot of people are looking to buy the dip on Solana. I think Solana is a good project, but there are a lot of concerns around it being centralized that we're going to get to in a few minutes. But as far as the project itself, let's just take a look at some of its technicals. If we take a look here at the RSI, for example, you can see that there is currently some bullish RSI divergence playing out. We have a very minor, but it's definitely there, minor but certainly present uptrend on the RSI on the daily chart, downtrending level of support on the price action chart. That is bullish RSI divergence, and that does indicate to us that we could be about to see some movement to the upside. We can also see that the volume is doing relatively well, and if we take a look here at Lux Algo, we can see what it's saying. I believe we're going to be in a confirmed downtrend here, and it looks like that is the case. Let me go ahead and set up my Lux Algo the way that I normally would. Grab all three of those. You can see there's a strong downtrend, strong sell signal. We are red on the trend catcher, and I would assume that the Lux Oscillator is bearish. It is, so we're in a confirmed downtrend on Solana right now. What you guys want to be looking for are big support levels on Solana. One of them is going to be the flat level of support right here around $150 and change. We saw quite a bit of trading over here, and then we also have a support level here around 130. I think Solana has the opportunity to bounce higher than that, but if we start pushing too much lower and you believe it's a good project that you want to be invested in, you are starting to get into the area of buying opportunities. But one of the things that we want to make sure that we are paying close attention to is not just the technical side, but also the fundamental side. The Solana blockchain has reportedly suffered another DDoS attack that temporarily clogged the network. However, the network appeared to remain online. This speaks to two things. Number one, it calls into question the decentralized nature of Solana, but number two, it does speak to the network's resiliency. If you don't know what a DDoS or a DDoS attack is, DDoS stands for distributed denial of service, and essentially it is what happens when a hacker or a belligerent entity on the internet sends a massive amount of transactions or queries or, you know, just information to a network to try and clog it up and make the network crash. And that's essentially what happened to Solana over the last 24 hours. We can see right here, we are aware that tokens are taking a long time to distribute. The Solana chain is being overloaded with DDoS attacks, which have clogged the network, causing delays. Now, the thing is, even a decentralized network like Solana can have a DDoS attack, because a DDoS attack is simply just throwing as many transactions at a network as possible to try and clog it up. It happens all the time in computer networks, but the reason that this is a bit concerning is because you don't see something like a DDoS attack happening on Bitcoin. You don't see it happening on Ethereum. The fact that you're able to see something like this happening on Solana is a little bit concerning. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below as to what role you think the developers with Solana should have in all of this and mitigating attacks like these. Looks like the network stayed up, but this is just a reminder that Solana is a much more centralized network than many of the other networks that we have taken a look at here on the channel. But let's go ahead and jump into our first intermission here and check in with the chat and have a little bit of a discussion. Tim, do you have any thoughts on the Solana network? Have you researched Solana much? Or you invested in Solana? Do you have any thoughts on it?
I'm not invested in Solana yet. That is something I do want to do eventually. I've just kind of I don't think I have an exchange at the moment open where I could get Solana. what I am looking at the technicals that I want to keep a close eye on, and I'm really hoping we're going to see that falling wedge kind of form. My internet is also being really stupid, so if hopefully you're plugged into like the.
I'm fine. I got a hard line.
So you're good. All right, Wi-Fi is just being a little fickle here at the Crypto Jebb company.
Crypto Jebb headquarters.
Anyway, even though I can't look at my computer now, so it doesn't mean no good to look down at my screen. There's an argument that we could be in a falling wedge, which would be a bullish sign, but as Jebb said, there's a flat level of support. A flat level of support paired with a descending level of resistance is a descending triangle. We just saw a descending triangle play out on Cardano a couple weeks ago, and it was very bearish. 70% of the time, those are bearish. So we've said for a while that Solana had a very, very nice rally, but things that go up eventually come down. Is this the time, or does it have a little bit farther to go up?
Yeah.
That's what I want to keep an eye on, and I'll do my best. I'll see if we got any super chats put over. I don't think we had any super chats put over. I can see one right now. Yeah, I can see one. The most recent one, which was huge, from Simpleman699, 400. Is that euros? That's 400 euros.
That's euro. Yeah.
Hi guys.
Euro, wow.
It seems like you guys mostly look at the TA, but hardly hear you guys of other things happening in the world. Actual reason for Bitcoin and crypto all drops seem to me due to external things happening in the world, like Evergrande. I don't know what is not allowed to be said, but
I don't think you can
a
say
virus.
The news of virus.
Yeah, rate hike, et cetera, et cetera. Your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you very much for that donation, man. That's really very much appreciated. So that is something that we're trying to do more of, is jump more into news. One of the things that you got to realize with Evergrande, and I did talk about this in yesterday's stream, Evergrande is one of the larger real estate companies in China, and I talked about yesterday how China is a house of cards. Its real estate market is a massive house of cards, and it is going to come crashing down at some point. The reason is because their entire economy is over leveraged into real estate, and there's a lot more housing than there are people to live in those houses. You might think, okay, there's 1.4 billion people in China. Of course, they're never going to run out. They're never going to have too much housing, but that's actually not the case. Their entire ghost cities that were built to house 3 million people and only 20,000 people live there. There's a massive bubble, and there's a lot of wealth that doesn't really mean anything in China, so that is an issue. Evergrande collapsing is more than likely not a Lehman moment like a lot of people are relating it to. I don't think it's going to cause a massive global crisis, but one is around the corner, guys, and there is going to be a big recession in the next 2 or 3 years. I know a lot of business owners here in town, and a lot of them are getting ready and trying to recession-proof their businesses, as are we, because there is going to be hell to pay for all of the money printing and the slam to the floor interest rates and all of the hundreds of billions and trillions of dollars of money printing that we've seen. There's going to be an impact on that. And in fact, we were talking about in our research meeting yesterday, I forgot who it was. T-Shrim, you might remember who this was. Somebody was saying that what we're going to see happen is that the entire stock market is going to undergo a massive 2008 style collapse. It's going to cause Bitcoin to have a giant collapse and go into a bear market, but then that's going to vindicate and prove why Bitcoin exists in the first place. And then the person that I'm thinking of, I can't remember his name, is going... Gareth Soloway, that's his name, is talking about moving his entire net worth into Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, because once that event happens, we are going to see the floor fall out from under the traditional financial markets. So there's a lot at play there, and we will be talking about more of that. Thank you for the donation, my friend.
All right. My internet is back up, so I have the rest of the ones we had. We had one from Crypto Vet for $50 saying, "Happy Friday. This is my contribution to the pumpamental gods. Please give us the daily bread and pump." Okay.
Thank you, Crypto Vet.
Thank you so much, Crypto Vet. Soundbuzz said Sharpay to space. Literally.
Maybe so. I'm not familiar with that project.
Another one I just saw pop up here. Mike Markle said, "Any thoughts on Gala or Gala?" Which one is that pronounced?
I believe it's Gala. I haven't looked at that too much, so I can't really tell you on that one. I am getting into a lot more cryptocurrencies right now, though, and in fact, I just bought an avalanche of Avalanche this morning. I made that joke on Twitter this morning, so if you guys want to see the purchases that I'm making, I'm not telling you the amount, but I am telling you when I do it. I just bought a bunch of Avalanche, and I think that it's a good deal, and we'll probably end up talking about Avalanche either today or in Monday stream if we have time as a result of that. But Tim, what are some projects that you're looking at right now for the weekend?
Well, okay, so we talked about it the other day. Matic's on its way down, so that's not one, but it is one. I love what Matic is doing as a project, so I'm waiting for it to at least get close to looking like it's finding its bottom. That's one I really like. What was the one I was doing TA on the other day that I actually really liked? Both Dot and Link are both in very good spots. We actually had a whole video about that, how, I'm sure they've both gone up since now, but at the time we were doing the TA, they both had positions that could rise by 85% over the next couple of weeks. So it's like, those are great projects. As a whole, I think a lot of the market, though, right, I think there's a lot of great buy opportunities. So, I'm not looking at a plethora of different projects, but of the ones I have looked at, there's only a handful that I would be like, no, I don't think I would really want to invest in that right now.
Yeah, but do you think right now is a good time for people to be looking to buy, just speaking generally?
I'm just talking about trading. You're talking about long-term?
Yeah, like long-term.
No, so I'm still in the camp of learning and growing my understanding and knowledge because when I'm thinking long-term, just so you know, I'm thinking 5, 6, 7, 20, 30, 40 years.
Yep.
I'm not thinking weeks, months, 1 year. When I'm thinking weeks, months, 1 year, I'm thinking my trading opportunities. As a whole, I am a solid Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano. Although projects like Solana, DOT, which actually I might throw DOT into the 4 that I'm actually pretty
DOT's a good project. It's the leader in layer 0 protocols.
I also plan on, I've been saying this for a while. I think I'm going to go ahead and get on an XRP. The SEC cases continue to drag on. It's slowing everything down.
It's ridiculous.
But
They're doing that on purpose.
I also have, some of you who have watched for a while used to be a hater of XRP. That has changed. I like XRP. I don't think it'll replace Bitcoin. I don't think it's going to become top dog, but I do think it's a very good project that will be around for a while. So that's another one that I'm looking at investing in for a long term.
There you go. Well, guys, if you're enjoying today's show, smash that like button. Tim, how many likes do we have on the video? I think we got 2,300 people watching.
We got 23, but only 444 likes, unless my Wi-Fi is messed up still.
No, that's right.
No, you're correct.
Okay, sweet.
You're correct.
We can get
We
that.
can get to 1,000 easy.
Yeah. I have found in doing this, you were talking about trends, and we're talking about consistent patterns.
What's your price prediction for the like button?
We easily can get to 50% of our concurrent.
Okay,
so
like
right now we're at 2,200, so 1,100 likes within the next 10 minutes.
I think that's doable.
No problem.
I think that's doable. Well, let's go ahead and jump back into the content so you guys have a reason to like the video. We're going to talk about Bitcoin because Bitcoin is dropping a little bit right now, and I know you guys are going to be very interested in that. Let's take a look over here on my screen, and the very first thing we're going to do is we're just going to go through some traditional TA. And by the way, guys, I meant to mention this earlier. Let me show you what the rundown of this show is going to be. We're going to spend the next 15 minutes or so on Bitcoin. Then we have some news stories we want to read. We're going to talk about how I'm going to say crypto face, how Plan B is saying that $69,000 is not the top. We're going to get to that Cathie Wood story with $500,000 Bitcoin. And we're also going to be looking at a couple of other things coming out of NASDAQ. From there, we're going to go into our next intermission just after the top of the hour. And then we'll jump into Ethereum. We're going to do about 10 minutes on Ethereum. And then we'll move into our conclusion. We got some really interesting things to talk about with remittances and the nation of Guatemala. We're going to get into that a little bit later. But for right now, we have some Bitcoin TA that we need to do. So let's go ahead and jump onto it. As you can see, Bitcoin is in a very, very precarious situation right now. It is resting on the top of this long-term uptrending level of support that has been in play ever since March of last year. And we're also sitting right above this downtrending level of support that you can see right there. What that basically does for us is it gives us this little triangular area of support that Bitcoin very much wants to hold above. And I think that there's a good chance that it will. Now, I've made my stance on this very clear over the last couple of days. I believe what we're going to see happen to Bitcoin is that we're going to see some sideways, slightly bearish movement over the next couple of weeks, similarly to what we saw right here. I saw a tweet about this a little bit ago. We saw basically that Bitcoin went through a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave. Then we're currently going through an ABC corrective wave right here. If I just go ahead and draw it, you can see that either it's ABC like this, or you could potentially argue that we are currently about to see the B wave, and then we're going to see a C wave to the downside. But the point is, we're following traditional market structure here in Bitcoin, and I think that we're undergoing a smaller but similar movement that we saw earlier on this year. I don't think that we're just going to V-bottom down here. I think eventually we are going to have one final capitulation followed by a big rally, but I honestly don't think the bottom is in, and I don't think that we're going to see a massive rally in the next couple of days. I think the bottom, I take that back, the bottom for the candle wick might be in, but as far as the candle bodies are concerned, I think we very well may see candle bodies come down here and ride this downtrending level of support, at least for the next couple of days, maybe on into the week. I think we might start seeing some bullishness by Christmas, definitely moving into January though. But as far as our technical indicators are concerned, let's take a look at these. First thing to show you is that over the last 7 days, we have gradually been seeing the MACD start to converge, and as we talked about, guys, we are looking at potentially the second lowest bullish MACD cross in the history of Bitcoin. The only one lower was back here around May 31st. What happened May 31st? Well, we were basically at the bottom. We would go down another $3,000 to $4,000, but we were essentially at the bottom of the market. We found the bottom, but we hadn't found the bounce yet because those two things don't always come together. Right now, we're seeing that these red lines are basically plateauing. It means that we're seeing some convergence on the MACD, MACD, but not much to really mean anything. We're going to need to see some actual movement to the upside for MACD to have any chance of crossing bullish. One other thing I'll mention to you guys is that we're sitting down here on top of 30 on the RSI. We've been sitting down here in this region, but yesterday we officially hit 30 on the RSI for the first time. We have not seen that happen ever since May again. But the other thing you got to keep in mind, guys, is that RSI should not only be read as an overbought and oversold signal. RSI should be read as a relative strength index. That's what it stands for. It's supposed to be read as a way for you to understand who's more powerful. Right now, obviously, the bears are the ones that are more powerful because the RSI is sitting down here below 50, and it has been doing so for the last month. The bears are in charge right now. I just want to make sure that's crystal clear. The question that we are asking ourselves is, when do those bears lose their power? I don't think it's going to happen immediately, but I do think it's going to happen sooner than we might expect. One other thing to mention here are the candlesticks. You can see that Bitcoin has a very long upper shadow right now, and yesterday was a pretty large red candlestick. I talked about earlier on in the week, I believe it was on Monday or Tuesday, how Bitcoin was going to attempt to bounce here, but it probably wasn't going to succeed. And I told you guys we might get as high as this downtrend right here, but we probably won't even get there. We saw Bitcoin bounce, rally, and capitulate. What does that mean? Well, we started December back over here around 57, 58,000. We corrected all the way down here, and we only managed to rally to 52. What this tells me is that the intrinsic value of Bitcoin, or at least the perceived intrinsic value of Bitcoin by the market, has gone down. The resting place, if you will, for Bitcoin has dropped down here into the low 50s, high 40s, and that's where we've been sitting for the last little while. This lower high speaks volumes about the strength of the bears, and as I said, they are in charge right now, but I don't think that they're going to have the strength to push us terribly far to the downside below this. Maybe down to 44, 45, 46, but I don't see anything below $42,000. I think that as far as this candle wick over here is concerned, I think this wick was the bottom, but again, like I said earlier, I'm looking for a candle body bottom as well that we have not seen just yet. Now, like I said, we are also still riding both of these support levels. We're above both of them at the moment. I do think that we're going to break the uptrending one and come down here and test the downtrending one, but that is something that we will see more than likely happen moving into the new week. If we look here at the daily chart, we can look at our Bollinger Bands, and you guys will see that we are currently riding the bottom of the Bollinger Bands, and that is indicative that we are, yes, very much being driven by the bears, but again, it means that eventually we're going to see this turnaround. That's what we're trying to figure out, is when is this bottom? As I told you, think it's going to be somewhere in the mid-40s. I think it's going to be somewhere on this trend line, and I think it's going to be somewhere in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So that's my official stance on this, and it has been for the last week ever since we had this large drop to the downside. Now, taking a look at the 4-hourly chart, something interesting has happened down here. Looks like we had a large bullish MACD cross back on the 5th of December, and it looks like we might be about to see another one that is much higher. This could be a good sign because this could validate that we found a bottom right here on this longer-term uptrending level of support. If that's the case, then Bitcoin could have found a temporary bottom, and we could see Bitcoin rally all the way up to this downtrend. If it does that, then that is likely something that is going to be a setup for Bitcoin, and we could see Bitcoin use that to spring back up into the high 50s, but I personally doubt it, to be honest with you. But one of the things also to mention here is that RSI is setting higher lows. We had an RSI on the 4-hourly chart pull all the way down to 16. The last time we saw RSI pull all the way down to 16 on the 4-hourly chart doesn't even show up without moving to the without scrubbing backwards. Back here on September the 4th, it looks like was the most recent time. I'm actually going to figure that out exactly. Let's go ahead and draw a horizontal line right here. Let's see how far back in history we have to go to find that. March 12th, 2020. That tells us again, as I mentioned earlier, two things. Number one, the bears are very much in charge, but two, it also means that the bears might be getting themselves overextended. And what we're about to do is we're about to look at some market cipher TA, but while I'm getting everything ready for that, Tim, do you think the bears are overextending themselves, or are they still very much in charge? Are we going to see lower lows than this?
Well, starting with what you just talked about right there, that's something we discussed on the show when the day you were out, so on Wednesday or whatever.
Woo.
Not just that, you go look at the daily chart. Just guys, do some back analysis right here. Every single time that we get this low on the RSI, and that doesn't mean we won't go down any lower, but this is kind of bouncing off what we talked about yesterday, the zoom out. Before you freak out about the short time frame, zoom out, look at things in the big picture. Could we go a little lower on the RSI? Could we go a little lower in price? Absolutely. But the question is how much more? We're getting so close to the bottom of what's even possible, and every single time we get to these regions, we follow it with massive rallies. So I don't think we necessarily have to go down, but if we go down to 46, 44, That's not that low, and that's just about as low as it possibly could get before we have an explosive rally. So if you're just looking for a day trade, yeah, maybe you have a reason to potentially be a little concerned. Like right now on the hourly chart, someone put it out in chat, and we needed to wait for confirmation, but I think we kind of got what we needed. We are setting up bearish RSI divergence on the hourly chart. So what does that tell me? That tells me, hey, maybe this isn't the best moment to enter a trade that I want to be able to close by the end of the day.
Right.
But if I'm looking for an investment position long term, or even if I'm looking for a long-term trade, meaning the next couple of days and weeks, we're still sitting in a great spot of, man, there's really not that much lower we can go before we will hit the spring and we'll hit a big rally.
Yeah, and it kind of reminds me of my Cardano purchase. You guys know I bought a lot of Cardano like 2 weeks ago or so before this big dip. I bought it at $1.61 because I was like, oh man, it's a great dip. And now I'm down several $1,000s, of course, because it's down to $1.29. I'm not worried about the fact that I'm down several $1,000s because I bought that Cardano to hold for like 5 years. Like I didn't buy that to hold for 2 weeks. So if it's down on paper, who cares? It doesn't matter to me. I'm actually looking at buying more Cardano and buying the dip. The question that we got to figure out right now is, what is the dip depth, as we were talking about in our planning meeting this morning? It's pretty funny. Try saying that 5 times fast. Dip depth. That's I'm not even going to attempt that. I don't even think that I can do that. But nevertheless, let's go ahead and take a look here at the 2-daily chart. We're going to take a look at Market Cipher. There are some interesting things Market Cipher is trying to tell us right now. I mentioned Market Cipher yesterday on the 2-daily chart, so I'm not going to go into a ton of detail on this, but basically what we're looking at here is that we're very bearish and the bears are very much in charge. But eventually, guys, these 3 areas, the RSI, the money flow, and the momentum, they're going to find a bottom, and they're probably going to find a bottom relatively soon. I do think that we're going to see Market Cipher do something like this moving into the rest of the month. And remember, guys, even just like right here, that's like Christmas. So I'm talking about in the next several weeks, but I do think we're setting up for a longer term bottom. We have an anchor wave right here back on the 25th of May, and then a trigger wave right here on probably in the next 2 weeks. That is going to lead to a major uptrend on the lows here on Market Cipher, which could lead to an explosive rally up to $100,000 and more. So I just want to make sure that you guys are zooming out because you're in doubt and remembering the Bitcoin market is a very healthy market. And as we talked about yesterday, the on-chain metrics are better than they've ever been. We've even seen the hash rate hit an all-time high, despite the fact that the Bitcoin price is this low. So we've got a lot of great reasons to be excited, not a lot of great reasons to be freaking out. But one of the things I want to show you here on the 4-hourly chart with Market Cipher A is that there was a red square right here, red diamond. This is called a blood diamond, and this is typically something that will show up at the beginning of a pretty major downtrend. So I do just want to point that out to you. Market Cipher A might be trying to tell us something. You can see these 2 blood diamonds happen before this big movement to the downside. I'm not going to jump in too much detail on Market Cipher A right now, but the fact that this flash right here does indicate to me that we're not done with this correction and that there is going to be more to come. However, I don't want you guys getting freaked out because, again, everything that we've just said, I've said it 15 times, 15 million times probably. Bitcoin is a healthy market. It's doing well. It's just trying to find that support level. So with that said, one of the things I also want to mention to you, I think I got to grab it right here. There we go. Market Cipher DBSI. If you look at Market Cipher DBSI on a ton of different time frames, take a look here at the Market Cipher B and also Market Cipher DBSI. Taking a look at Market Cipher B here, you can see that there's this green dot down here. These don't show up very often. Last time we saw any of them were back here in and around July the 20th. That's a very bullish sign. We can also see that there are some decently large numbers here on the bottom of Market Cipher DBSI. A couple of them are bearish in the last couple of days, but in general, DBSI seems to be very bullish here on the daily chart. Even looking down to the 12-hourly chart, you can see the same thing. There's a green dot on the 12-hourly chart, lots of big green numbers down here on these shorter term time frames, and then even just down here on the 8-hour chart, you can see there's an 8 here on Market Cipher DBSI. There's a green dot back over here. So Market Cipher is telling us that the market is attempting to set up for some bullishness. It just isn't there yet. We're getting very, very preliminary warnings. Doesn't mean it's happening today, doesn't mean it's happening tomorrow, but it probably does mean that we're going to see some kind of big bottoming pattern happen in the next 7 days. That is the way that I would look at that. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at Lux Algo here. We got about 5 minutes until we jump into some news. Like I said, we got some interesting headlines. We're going to be talking about Plan B's $69,000 Bitcoin prediction and more. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Looking at the daily chart here on Lux Algo, one of the first things that I need to remind you guys of, and I'm going to go through this briefly because I mentioned this several times over this week, we are in a confirmed downtrend. How do we know that? Well, we have a sell signal, trend catcher is red, and we can also see that the Lux oscillator down here is red as well. Those three come together to give what I call a confirmed trend indication. So we saw a confirmed uptrend happen back over here with a strong buy signal. Trend catcher was green, and you can see down here Lux oscillator was green, and then I would ignore both of these because they didn't have confirmation with them. But then this set of signals right here gave us a confirmed downtrend. Lux Algo, if you use my strategy, is incredibly powerful, and the daily chart is telling us that we're probably getting close to that zone of support. You can see that we're sitting right here above the reversal zones, and yeah, you can penetrate very deeply into the reversal zones as you saw happen back in May, but since we have not done that, it's unlikely that we're going to have another just flash crash down $10,000. We're probably going to have a slow grind down into the top third of the reversal zone here, and then we're going to bounce. And that's a very healthy thing, not something that we should be concerned about. The other thing that's telling us is that we are entering a slightly prolonged period of downtrending as we see the EQ cloud reversing and turning bearish. And if we do want to enter a new uptrend, we're likely going to want to see Bitcoin get above at least $55,000, which I would argue is not likely to happen in the next month. I think it is going to take a little bit of time for us to get there. But looking down at the 4-hourly chart on Lux Algo, we're going to see some interesting things as well. You can see we're currently under a sell signal, but we've actually been under a confirmed downtrend for quite some time. In fact, we've been in a confirmed downtrend ever since back here. And really, if you were to go into, I'm not going to go into all of it right now, I would argue we've been in a confirmed downtrend ever since the 10th of November on the 4-hourly chart, and we're currently sitting down here above support. The thing that you want to be looking out for down here on the 4-hourly chart, if we are going to try to have a shorter term rally, is you want to see us get through the EQ cloud right here, which is currently sitting between $50,000 and $53,000. Don't think it's going to happen, but if you are in that bearish camp, or if you are in that bullish camp, be looking for that as confirmation. Now, one of the final things I want to mention here before we jump into some headlines are some on-chain metrics that Kelly posted over on his Twitter. If you guys haven't followed Kelly Kellum on Twitter, make sure you do that. Kelly, feel free to put your Twitter in the chat. He is one of our researchers and brings up a lot of great information for us every single day. You can see he has a screenshot of a CryptoQuant.com tweet here talking about something called a binary CDD. This has to do with a metric called coin days destroyed, and you can see the metric down here at the bottom. Every time this metric breaks out of this little zone right here in accumulation, then we typically see a pretty large rally. Back over here, it's hard to see, but the rally that it's talking about right there is the Bitcoin rally that happened in 2019 that rallied us all the way up to $13,000. So the first time of the three that we saw this metric come into play was right around here. We saw a pretty big rally. Looking back at this, you can see the next time we saw a breakout of this was right around this period of the market, which would have been right around here. You can see what happened. And then if we just take a look at what this indication is telling us now, it looks like we're breaking out of it again. Then what would we see happen? Well, theoretically, we would see something similar happen that we saw happen these last couple of times where we see a pretty large rally. So that's just an on-chain metric that can give you a little bit more long-term confidence on the price action of Bitcoin. Again, guys, I want to make sure that we're looking at the day, trying to figure out what the next week's going to do. But even more importantly than that, I care a lot more about what's going to happen over the next 3, 6, 12 months. Because as I have learned, and as many of you guys have learned, delayed gratification is one of the greatest mindsets that you can adopt for your actual success here in cryptocurrency. I mean, just to give you an example, this channel was not made what it is today because of one big video that got 500,000 views. In fact, that never really happened. In fact, nothing like that has ever happened. The thing that made this channel successful was consistently producing quality content every single day for 4 years. That's how the channel became successful, and that's how your portfolio is going to become successful, not from one big trade and getting lucky on Dogecoin, but from consistent gains and profits, not just in your crypto portfolio, but also in your crypto knowledge. So that's very important that you realize that. One of the final things I want to mention here on the on-chain side is Bitcoin futures open interest over on BitMEX, and you can also see Bitcoin open interest in perpetual futures contracts over on BitMEX. Both of these metrics have reached a multi-month low, about a year low. And the reason for this is because I think a lot of people are starting to get shaken out of all of their leveraged positions, and a lot of this leverage is getting absolutely wrecked. You can see we saw a big squeeze back over here in March, and we're seeing, or in May, and we're seeing something similar happen right now. We were over leveraged as a market. This is kind of this idea that I've been talking about where we have this big bubble and it's deflating. It's not popping, but it is deflating. And it's not even a bad thing. We just need to have the market go through some kind of reset so that we can have this controlled burn that we talk about, and so that we can prepare ourselves for another movement to the upside. That's what I think we're doing right now. We're having a controlled burn, and following that controlled burn, we're going to have a big movement to the upside, and it's all going to be great. Now, one of the final things to mention here is Bitcoin number of exchange deposits down here on the hourly chart. This has gone down, and what this basically tells me is that people are not moving their cryptocurrency to exchanges to sell. Instead, they're holding on to it, and they're not planning on selling, and it means that we are entering what we would call the spring, or the bottom of this market, and that we're sitting pretty. So all that on-chain metric, all of those on-chain metrics give me quite a bit of confidence for the next several months on Bitcoin. Now, let's go ahead and jump over here to this article. And I really want to read this tweet by Plan B. If you guys don't know, Plan B is the pseudonymous creator of the stock to flow model, which you can see a screenshot of right here. He says, I don't think $69,000 was the top for this halving cycle. If 69K were the top, then a typical bear market 80% drawdown would bring the bottom to $14,000, below the 2017 all-time high of $20,000, and below the 200 weekly moving average of $18,000. Nah, that has never happened, and in my opinion, it will never happen. I agree with him, but I'd actually take it farther. Number one, no, I don't think we're ever going to see Bitcoin drop below $20,000 again. You can mark my words on that. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm not. But I also don't think that we're going to see an 80% drawdown like we've seen in past. I don't know Plan B's prediction on this, but I don't think we're ever going to see an 80% correction on Bitcoin again, certainly not in the total cryptocurrency market capitalization. I think there's far too much investment that is going into cryptocurrency now for us to ever see something like that happen again, but we could see 60 or 70%. I just don't think we're going to push all the way to 80%, but the point he's making here is that with however large the bear market is going to be, the correction down is much lower than we should possibly see, and that basically tells him, and I would agree with him, that we have not seen the all-time high come in just yet. Now, one of the other things I want to mention here is Cathie Wood, and I actually want to bring in Tim here. Cathie Wood says 5% investment from institutions could push Bitcoin's price up by $500,000. To clarify, she's not saying push Bitcoin to $500,000. She's saying that it could push Bitcoin's price up by $500,000. So that would be a $550,000 Bitcoin.
$550,000. It's
close enough.
Close to the same, yeah.
So what do you say about that, Tim? Do you think she's right? Do you think it would take that little investment from institutions to push us that high?
Well, I don't think she's wrong. I think Cathie Woods is a very intelligent woman who does her math and knows her numbers, and so I think that what she's saying is factually correct. So now you examine, all right, what is the likelihood of 5%? It's 5% of companies investing what?
5% of companies investing is what she said.
Well, okay. Now I guess. Okay.
It's kind of unclear.
Let me back up a second. Yeah, because if 5% of all companies in the world invest $1, then no, it's not going to.
Yes, of course.
I would imagine she's talking about significant investments. But again, I will still say.
So, I take that back. She then said if institutions made their move into Bitcoin by allocating around 5% of their portfolios over time. That's what it is. So it sounds like she's saying
5% of the companies in the world allocate 5%.
I think she's saying all of the institutions of the world allocate 5%.
Okay, so that's her math. Then therefore, if she did her math on that,
we're getting whiplash. I know.
she did her math on that. She is correct. The debate or the question is, what is the likelihood, and is the likelihood of that happening by this bull run? I don't know. That one I would love to wait and see. But I have been saying for months and weeks that we are literally a day or two away. We're always a day or two away from a massive rally because of what exactly she's talking about. A lot of institutional investors have kind of said in the past, we're waiting on this to happen. I know one of the big ones was, can we answer the question of the environmental impact? And that's a whole can of worms, because the truth is, even in the way we were doing it before wasn't a problem for the environment. But what has happened recently has kind of helped kind of belittle those arguments. So I think there are still institutions, there are still companies sitting here saying, all right, our excuses are the way, we're looking for a good spot. And we've said that before. When the retail investor misses their spot, like if you were like saying, man, I wish I could have got in at 29,000. Sorry. But if enough of the institutions say, I wish I'd gotten in at this price,
they'll just manipulate it.
That's when they get it to go there. Now,
yeah.
I think it'd be a little too hard for them to get it all the way down to 29. But I think there is probably a lot of them sitting here saying, I want this price at this level, and it's somewhere within this region. We had a wick recently down to 42,000. We've had a lot of action here between 46 and 47. So potentially we get the price back down there one more time for them to do that. We could go even a little lower. There's just not a lot of downside left to go. So in my opinion, I think we're getting there pretty soon.
Yeah, just a question. Like, this is a genuine, I don't know the answer to this question. So what you just said is, if an institution wants to get to a certain buying point, they can manipulate the market. Can they manipulate the market if they haven't even gotten into the market?
They can short it.
Within reason, they can.
That was my question.
Also, don't underestimate how many institutions work together.
Also, don't underestimate the power of their influence, because a lot of these institutions also own media companies. Like, for example, I believe it's Amazon that owns the Washington Post. A lot of these big news outlets are owned by either billionaires or billion-dollar companies. So they can manipulate the market through stories such as, oh, Bitcoin's bad for the environment, or Elon Musk can come out and tweet something. I mean, the funny thing, Elon's tweet is going to end up going down in history books. I hope you know that. When he was tweeting about this and crashing the Bitcoin market, that's going to go into economics textbooks in the future. Hopefully, we will see him come out and tweet something positive about it. But even more, hopefully, we will see people stop caring about what Elon Musk thinks on the Bitcoin argument. But here's one of the things I want you guys to realize. Institutions, a lot of them have started to get interested in Bitcoin ever since about March of this year, when Michael Saylor of MicroStrategy got like 500 billionaire executives into one room and started teaching them all about Bitcoin. A lot of these big companies are interested in Bitcoin, but they realize and they understand what market cycles are. And they realize that, yeah, the bull market's not over, but we're kind of close to the top. And a lot of these institutions, they work on 10-year time frames. They don't care if they don't care about waiting 2 years to invest in Bitcoin. They don't mind saying, okay, let's have the blow off top, crash it, and then see what the actual real value of Bitcoin is, and then buy the dip. And I think we're going to see a lot of that happen in the next bear market, which is one of the reasons I don't think the next bear market is going to be that deep, and I don't think it's going to be that long. One of the final things I want to mention here before we move into our intermission and start reading some super chats is the fact that Bitcoin exchange balance has hit a 3-year low. This is a huge, huge, huge deal. Take a look at my screen here. You can see that as of 2 days ago, there was 2.408 million Bitcoin balanced on exchanges, down from 3.13 million Bitcoin on exchanges back in March of last year during the, I almost said it, during the dump that happened from the news virus. And the reason that we saw it up that high was because a lot of people were fearful. They were selling their Bitcoin because they didn't know what the stock market was going to do. They didn't know if they were going to need money to feed their families during impending recession, which a lot of people thought was coming. That didn't come to pass, and then Bitcoin exploded because people were tired of the traditional markets being manipulated, so they got into Bitcoin. And now the balance on exchanges has gone down and down and down and down. And take a look at this chart right here, this longer term chart. We saw Bitcoin exchange on balances jump up quite a bit during May and June of this year as people were selling their Bitcoin. That has not happened this time. People are not reacting to this correction, the one that we're in right now. They're not reacting to this correction the same way that they reacted to this one. A lot of people thought about selling back here, and a lot of people did. Not the same thing happening this time. That difference in market sentiment is incredibly important and speaks volumes about the state of our cryptocurrency market. We are doing much better than we ever have. With that said, let's go ahead and jump into a super chat intermission segment, and stay tuned for Ethereum and some snapshots. We're going to be looking at Ethereum coming up, and we're also going to be taking a look at Algorand and Polkadot, and we got some really interesting conversation to have around the conclusion. So make sure you stay tuned for that, and smash that like button. We hit 1.1K likes, I do believe. Let's see if we can't. We're at 1K likes. Let's see if we can't get to 2,000 likes, because whenever you guys hit the like button, it helps to promote the video in the algorithm, which helps to drive the good news of Bitcoin forward. So if this video is helpful for you, it might be for someone else also. So help us get the word out there by smashing that like button. Let's see if we can't get to 2,000.
We got a couple TA questions here, or at least one, and the second one I think is a TA question. Tom Corman said, this seems like the massive ascending wedge on the one-day ETH chart since July. Any thoughts on that? Thanks.
Yes, it actually does, and I'll show you what he's talking about here.
That for a while.
Yes, actually, and we've been talking about that for a while. It does look like a massive ascending wedge, and I would say that that ascending wedge is probably going to break bearish. We're going to talk about that a little bit more in the Ethereum segment coming up here in like 5 minutes, though, so stay tuned for that.
We actually, so the day that you were out again, we talked about that and the fact that if Ethereum wants to continue and have a big rally, Tom, it needs to break the opposite direction, it needs to break bullish. And the good news is Ethereum has actually broken bullish out of an ascending wedge recently. It wasn't as large as the one we're in right now, but it was a smaller time frame, and it ended up being a massive rally. So it's done it before, it can do it again, but there's a lot of things that need to happen before that's confirmed. Next one from Eddie Alexander. He said, just dropped 50K to 48K. Wow, the Bitcoin market is so manipulated.
There is a good amount of manipulation in it, but you also got to realize that manipulation is not as powerful as some people crack it up to be. manipulation can manipulate the market on like the daily time frame over the week. It is incredibly difficult, even for the whales and the institutions, to manipulate the price long term. That's why we saw Bitcoin jump from 10,000 to 60,000, is because there was a fundamental increase in the value of Bitcoin and the perceived value of Bitcoin by the public. And that's what we're going to continue to see happen. They can try and manipulate the price down or up, but at the end of the day, the retail is going to win. It's just going to take some time.
Carlos C said, what are your thoughts on AMP? There was rumors that once Amazon was considering this coin.
There have been a lot of rumors about Amazon, and I think you got to be careful with that. There's been rumors about Apple buying Bitcoin and getting into cryptocurrency. There's been a lot of rumors about different major multinational corporations getting into cryptocurrency. I'll believe it when I see it, because even when they do, sometimes it's not a great thing for crypto. Elon Musk buying Bitcoin was a great thing at the time, and then he all of a sudden had power over the public's opinion, and that wasn't a great thing for the price either. So I'll believe it when I see it in that area.
All right. We have one from one of my favorites, Fidel Vacariza. Can we see a big head and shoulders pattern forming on the daily chart of Bitcoin? This would push us directly into a bear market, I believe. Great question, Fidel, because I think a lot of other people are asking that. What do you think, Jebb?
Yeah, the thing about a daily chart head and shoulders pattern is, jump on my screen. I'll show you what he's talking about, and then we'll use this to move into our Ethereum. There is potentially a head and shoulders pattern forming right here. The thing is, I have found when you're dealing with patterns that are that large, it's not very common that they play out. A head and shoulders pattern, when you're looking like way in here, like you're looking at, I don't know, this is not a head and shoulders pattern, but say this was a head and shoulders pattern, sure, that might play out. But I've seen some of these large patterns, and a lot of times, the predictions that they make are far too large to really be relevant. Just for an example, if this head and shoulders pattern did play out, its price target would be $12,000. I can tell you with 99.9% confidence, I can't tell you certainly, but I can tell you with 99.9% confidence that we're not going to $12,000 and that price target is invalid. Could it happen? Yeah, if we broke $40,000, I could see us going down to 30, but I don't think that would be a bear market either. I would be very surprised to see Bitcoin ever go below 30 again. It could happen. I just don't think it's going to.
Sounds good. Yeah, I mean, I'm in the same boat. Like we have to get so low, and we have to stay down there low just to confirm that little head motion. So do you want a couple more? And then
let's do like one or two more if we have.
Simpleman699. Love this super chat. I don't think he realizes it's Friday. He says, "Icon TA tomorrow, please."
Saturday. We'll have to do that on Monday.
Yes,
we might be able to do that. The thing about Icon, I can tell you right now, and thank you for all those donations, man. I really appreciate that. The thing about Icon is seemingly a good project, but I remember when Icon was number 12, number 11 back in 2017, 2018. I am very hesitant to buy cryptocurrencies that were number 10 or 12 a long time ago and now are ranked number 50 or 60. I mean, Icon is way down the list. I don't even know where it is. I don't even know if it's in the top 100 anymore. I'll have to check. But it just, like, another example is EOS. EOS used to be in the top 10. Great project. Icon slipped all the way down to $104. So I just... I want to invest in something that has a proven track record. Ethereum's got a proven track record. Bitcoin's got a proven track record. Cardano has a proven track record so far. Icon so far, as far as its price is concerned, the project, you can say whatever you want about it, but as far as the price is concerned, it just simply does not have a track record that I am excited about. So that's not TA on it, but that is my opinion at least. Do we have any more, or should we go ahead and move on?
We have
Ethereum?
A lot. Yeah. Do you want to do a couple more?
Do one more. We'll jump into Ethereum.
Well, we had two here that are kind of shorter. Liam said, "Good morning. Always a pleasure to watch and learn."
Thank you.
Teen Scopes. That's Scopes. I don't know. That's a weird one. Is it worth exiting NFT to get 88 at a major sale?
That depends on that depends on a lot of things. I can't give you a general answer on that. I mean, if you're really if you've made a lot of money on the NFT and you think it's peaking out and you don't think it's ever going to go higher, then yeah, sure, buy up some Cardano. But I would just I'd be careful about doing that. Make sure you think it through. But that's really a very specific question that I can't give you an answer to. So sorry about that. But let's go ahead and move on here into some Ethereum. We got some Ethereum to talk about. One of the things I want to mention to you guys is exactly what our super chat mentioned earlier, and that is the fact that Ethereum is in a longer-term ascending wedge right here. And I remember about 6 months ago, I was comparing the ascending triangle pattern that we saw in 2017, which led to a 200% rally, to what we're seeing right now. But unfortunately, we have not drawn a flat level of resistance. We've drawn an uptrending level of resistance. And I know what you're saying. You're saying, Jebb, I thought you just said that super large chart formations like an inverse head, like a head and shoulders pattern on Bitcoin, you don't put a lot of stock in. And that's true. I generally don't do that. But that's only if they make ridiculous predictions like an $11,000 Bitcoin. An ascending triangle pattern, an ascending wedge on Ethereum right here makes a relatively realistic prediction, which says, hey, Ethereum will pull back to a relatively low level, such as a previous level of support, like $2,700. And that's very much possible. And there's two reasons why that could happen. Number one, if we go into a prolonged downtrend on Bitcoin and Ethereum's market just dries up and people get bored of the NFT space and the decentralized application space, and there's just not as many gains in staking pools and lending programs and all these things, then you could see a pretty large drop on Ethereum. And number two, the other reason might be if competitors to Ethereum start to surface, which, I mean, not surface, but start to really take market cap away from them, like a Solana, like a Cardano, like a, like an Avalanche, some of these decentralized application protocols, if they start taking market cap from Ethereum, then Ethereum's going to have a really hard time maintaining this sideways movement that we've seen. I mean, just take an example. Ethereum is only down 16% in the last 31 days from its all-time high, whereas Bitcoin is down 32% in the same time. If we look at Ethereum and we saw Ethereum do the same thing that Bitcoin did, and it pulled back down 32%, we would see Ethereum go down to $3,300, and that would be a break bearish out of this ascending wedge. So it's true, this ascending wedge is in play, and if Ethereum keeps just trading sideways here, not even drop, but just keeps trading sideways here, that is going to be a break of this ascending wedge, and that is going to probably instigate some bearish movement on Ethereum. It's one of the reasons why I am not super excited about Ethereum's price right now, because as successful as the altcoin market is right now, I think it's already too inflated to drive an alt cycle. I think we're only going to see an alt market cycle if Bitcoin has something really big going on. Ethereum's already sitting at 21.4% market dominance. I just think that these altcoins don't have what it takes right now to go on another massive run without the support of Bitcoin. But even before we get into the TA on that, Tim, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Massive run, no. Ethereum has been gaining dominance on Bitcoin slowly but surely. I talked about this the other day when I was leading the stream. There's a lot of different things you could be looking at with Ethereum. First of all, that ascending wedge, yes, absolutely. The question is which one, because there actually could be an argument for two different ascending wedges forming on Ethereum. The other one is, man, are we right now filling out a bull pennant? Because if you look back as far as the 30th of September, we had a nice little flagpole right there, and now what we see in price action is staying inside a pennant. So I don't think that it is as a closed and simple case as saying, oh no, we're sitting a little bit south of the ascending wedge, therefore we're going to break bearish. At the same time, though, there's a lot of fundamental things. This kind of a boat of people don't like this, could go up, could go down. But there are some fundamental reasons saying bullish, but there's also some fundamental reasons saying bearish. For example, the gas fees seem to be getting back out of control again, once again for Ethereum. But we're continuing to see the price go up. We're continuing to see the dominance over Bitcoin go up. So could this be a season where Ethereum breaks from Bitcoin? We've seen in the past, sometimes they move together and sometimes they split and do their own thing. As far as what I'm seeing on the TA, if I didn't know anything about Ethereum, if I was just looking at the technical analysis, I'm sitting in a boat where I'm probably convinced that we're about to go down. And that is because I do think there's a lot of strength to that ascending wedge. I don't think there's enough power going on for us to continue to see bullish. If you look at the volume, same as Bitcoin, has just not been the same since earlier this year. So what I want to see is a lot more volume come into the market to be able to change that narrative that Ethereum can keep rallying. I do think potentially there's one more thing, and I know I'm kind of speaking in circles here. There is one case, though, we could rally one more time, set a new all-time high before we have our correction out of the ascending wedge and go bearish. And that is because we are sitting right now at the bottom of that ascending wedge, the support level. We could rally again as high as maybe 5,500, and I think a lot of people would like that. But I would need to see a lot of strength happening at that level to say, no, we're going to rally even further. Just because we hit 5,500 does not mean that we're not about to see some bearish movement. In fact, that could be a sign we get that high really quickly based off of pumpamentals, and then we serve our bearish correction out of the ascending wedge. So Ethereum for me is definitely I'm not in a sell mode right now, but I'm also not in a buy mode on Ethereum whatsoever.
It's kind of in a no trade zone for me as well right now. And I'm even kind of thinking about cycling out of my Ethereum a little bit to buy some of these dips, because things like Cardano, things like Avalanche, I just bought a bunch of Avalanche this morning. Some of these cryptos are on a freaking great deal, and I'm up a lot on Ethereum. Like I have Ethereum that I bought at $130 that I'm very excited about. So, you know, we're going to see. But one of the things I do want to mention here, guys, is the Fibonacci retracement on Ethereum. We're going to run through this relatively quickly because we're running a little bit behind schedule. But you can see that if we draw Fibonacci retracement all the way back from the July the 20th all the way up to our recent all-time high run, you can see that right now we're sitting on the 23.6% region. We also have the 38.2% region, which is a common retracement for small corrections, sitting right here around $3,700. That would make a lot of sense because that is the shoulder line of, the neckline of this inverse head and shoulders pattern that we set back here in September, moving on into early October. So $3,600 is very possible, and I would say actually pretty likely for Ethereum if we were to move farther to the downside. Then we also see that the 0.5% retracement lines up with some VPVR support over here, so we could very well see this. That would also be on the shoulder line of the inverse head and shoulders pattern, and then the golden pocket sits right down here just below $3,000. So the areas that you want to look at here on Ethereum for support are around $3,650, about $3,300, and then right here just below $3,000. I think Ethereum is going to go to one of those. I think it's more likely that it's going to stop here at the top one and then bounce, just because I do think Ethereum is a strong network right now. It's got a lot of bullish fundamentals behind it, and it is obviously outperforming Bitcoin as it almost always does. But when you zoom out and you look at a pattern like this over the last year and a half, you just start thinking to yourself, okay, we got to have some kind of correction out of this. I mean, we can't just keep going up forever. We've got to have some kind of reckoning here, and I think that's what we're going to see happen. Now, I'm going to not jump into all of our really deep TA just for the sake of time, but I will tell you my conclusion here on Ethereum. I think that there are two scenarios that are possible here. Either one, we break to the upside and we move up to $5,000 and we set that new all-time high before breaking bearish, or we just break bearish in the next 2 weeks. I don't think the former is very likely because I would be very surprised to see seeing Ethereum setting all-time highs while Bitcoin is struggling so much. But so I do think the second scenario of it breaking bearish and pushing down here to $3,500 is much, much more likely, and that is why I am thinking about cycling out of my Ethereum, moving into some other altcoins that I've been looking to accumulate over the last 6 months. Right now is a great time to be accumulating some of your favorite alts. I mean, we're looking at $1.30 Cardano, we're looking at $177 Solana, we're looking at Avalanche down here at $87. I just bought a good amount of Avalanches, down a lot. We got some discounts going on, guys, and we don't want to miss them. But with that said, let's go ahead and move on here briefly into some 2-minute technicals on some of our other cryptocurrencies. We're going to take a look here at Algorand. Algorand sounds almost like a what is that really famous sing? Deadmau5. It almost sounds like a song from Deadmau5, like Algorand, you know what I mean? It's been basically trading sideways for the last 6 months, and a lot of people are making a lot of money in Algo with its staking, and that's something that T-Shrum knows a lot about. T-Shrum, I want your opinion. What do you think about Algo right now? I know that we can't really hear you properly, but shout to us. What do you think about Algo? Are you looking to buy more Algo right now?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, there you go. You got it. Heard it here first, folks, guys. He's looking to buy more Algo. Do you think it's going to go up a lot? Do you think we're going to see a $10 Algo?
Yes.
You do? You think it's going to see a $10 Algo? Okay, I love it. Do you think that it is worth staking Algo and trying to make money with the yearly interest?
I have a more complex answer.
Then Scoot, come on here. Yeah, Scoot.
Well, what do you think? Tell us.
Scoot, come on.
I think that if you can find a coin that you think is going to go up and it can be staked,
boom, there you go. You heard it here first, folks. Buy some Algo and stake that
equipment to come in.
What's that?
I said I can't wait for the equipment.
I know. I can't wait till we actually have a camera. We got the camera and everything. We're just waiting on Amazon to ship stuff right now. So we'll have him online in about 2 years because of supply chain issues. But let's go ahead and look at Polkadot here, guys. We got some interesting things we want to bring up on DOT as well. DOT is in a massive downtrend. And if you guys have been looking at picking up some DOT, and quite frankly, I've been looking at picking up some DOT, now might not be a bad time. We're currently sitting below $30. We're currently sitting at $26, and I do see a lot of support down here, guys. There is an uptrending level of support that you can see right here. Basically just converges with some of these resistance levels that we saw over here in January, and then here in May, and then also some bottoms that we saw here in August and September, and we're currently sitting there. I can't tell you that the bottom is in, but I can tell you that there are reasons to believe that the bottom is somewhere between $20 and $25. And I think now is a decent time to be buying some Polkadot. It is in a confirmed downtrend, obviously. I don't even need to bring up Lux Algo to tell you that. It has a sell signal here. We saw that there was a movement to the downside here on the trend catcher, and obviously I'm not even going to show, well, I will show you, but because why not? But Lux Oscillator is red, so we do have a confirmed downtrend in play here. The question now is, where's the bottom? We're getting into this reversal zone down here. Smay, I know that you're a fan of DOT. Do you think, one, it's a good long-term investment, and two, are you looking at buying at these levels?
Well, yeah, but first and foremost, let me just answer. Somebody keeps saying I'm biased. I didn't even say anything. I haven't even said anything yet.
How's he biased? He didn't even say anything.
I haven't even said anything. But also, anyways,
You're biased.
I'm biased because I haven't said anything. But no, to be honest with you, I love DOT. I love a lot. And if I was interested in buying more right now, I would buy these levels. But right now, I'm kind of looking towards just trying to build more Bitcoin. So
Smay, I need some hashtag financial advice. Do you think I should sell some of my Ethereum and buy some DOT with it? Whatever you say, I'm gonna do it. Just so you know. I'm gonna do it.
Can I be honest with you?
Yes.
I really think that's a really tough question.
Whatever your answer is, if you say yes, I will sell one Ethereum and buy Polkadot with it.
I would do it. I mean, if you don't have a lot of, because here's the thing. The only reason why I'm saying that, this is not advice for every other person. The only reason I'm saying that is because I know Jebb has a lot of Ethereum and not as much Polkadot, so he might as well.
I have no Polkadot, so I'm gonna. So you heard it here first, folks. I'm gonna sell an Ethereum and buy some Polkadot, and we'll do that after the stream. We're gonna load up our DOT bags. It's gonna be great, guys.
I think it is like you said, it's leading the layer 0 space, and I think I'm very bullish on it. So.
What do you think, Tim?
I like DOT. I like where it's at the moment. I think.
Do you like my new trade that I have to do after the stream's over?
You're really gonna do it just because Smay said so?
Yes.
But you just we just confirmed he's biased.
But yes, I know.
I didn't even say anything.
Well, I've been wanting DOT for the last like 6 months. Even if he said not to, I was probably gonna do it. So.
No, I like DOT.
All I'm saying is, if you don't have DOT in your portfolio, like, what are you doing? Okay. Just get some.
What am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing. That's why I'm asking you.
I'm not saying sell all your Ethereum. Just get some, you know?
Okay, I'm going to sell some Ethereum and buy some Polkadot.
To be fair, we are not giving financial advice to anyone but Jebb right now.
But me, yeah. You're not getting financial advice. I am getting financial advice from my financial advisor, Smay.
Yeah.
So I promise I won't sue you, Smay, if I lose all of my Polkadot. What about you, Tim? Do you have any DOT in your portfolio? Are you looking to buy some?
No, I mean, okay, so I said earlier, I need to clarify. I thought I looked for Solana on my exchange, and I could have sworn I looked it up and it wasn't there. I'm wrong, because I looked it up and it is there. So I do want to buy Solana soon, although not right now. DOT is one that I'm like, ooh, this afternoon, should I be shifting some stuff into DOT?
Do it.
Yeah, and I just said I don't want to sell any of my ETH, so I don't know that. So I might have to just look at my US dollar account, which I think my wife was saying, because we went on vacation, so that's sitting a little lower at the moment. So I don't know where I'm going to get the money to buy DOT, but I'm going to figure it out.
Well, what you will get money if people like and subscribe, right? So should people like and subscribe?
I don't think that money goes to me, but yes,
it does. It pays your paycheck. What are you talking about?
You know what?
Well, it doesn't go directly to me.
You know what? Well, I'm gonna in solidarity. I'm gonna buy some DOT tonight. I wasn't planning on it, but I'll buy some DOT too.
Let's go.
Well, just to show that I am putting my money where my. I mean,
I'm
it's already
put my
been
mouth
there.
Where my money is. It's gonna be great.
My money is where it's been there.
It's been there.
But I'm gonna do it even more so.
Good deal. Awesome. Yeah. We're on that downward facing DOT, and we want to see it rally. If anybody gets that reference, I'll super chat $20 to you. Tim, why should they smash that like and subscribe button before we move into super chats?
Because I want them to.
Okay, that's a good reason. Yeah. What'll they get? What will they get if they like and subscribe? Will they get a cookie?
Well, they'll get a like back.
I will give every single one of you who likes and subscribes a cookie. I promise you, I will give you a cookie. Now, it might be an emoji in chat, but I will give you a cookie if you like and subscribe. So like and subscribe. With that said, let's go ahead and move into some super chats. I know we got some. This is not a super chat, but Jonathan O'Brien said, sell your beard and presumably buy Polkadot with it. Is that a valuable trade?
No. And
Tim, if I gave you $10,000 worth of Polkadot, would you shave your beard?
No.
It would just grow back.
It would
just grow back.
Grow back.
It's free money.
How many months of growth is that? Or is that over a year of growth?
This has not been clean shaven. So I'm 27 right now. I have not been clean shaven.
That was like 2 years ago. I remember the last time.
No, you have never met Tim clean shaven. You've met Tim with a short beard.
Really?
I think the last time I was clean shaven was 21 years old, and that was the worst week of my life.
Worst week.
I feel that. I clean shaved 2 weeks ago, and it was pretty bad.
So, no, this beard to me is worth.
It would just grow back.
I'll put it this way: this beard is worth an NFT in Decentraland to me. So if you give me,
so that means it's worth nothing.
It's worth nothing.
It's worth nothing.
No, I don't want to shave my beard. I would trim my beard for like a lot, but I'm proud of this.
To cut your beard in half, what would it cost?
To cut it in half?
Yep.
I'll tell you what. If this channel makes it to 250,000 subscribers by the end of the year, I will go to the barber and tell Corey, take about 2.5 inches off of this bad
You know what's
boy
funny
right
is that's his KPI because he's the chief product officer here at the company. So,
Yeah,
he just wants to achieve his KPI so that everything will go well. So that's pretty funny.
Yeah,
I like that. I like that. Guys, we got to get to 250K subs in the next 20 days. So subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I want to see this.
Wow.
I also would lose my stake being able, because I'm also in the running to join either Dude Perfect or Duck Dynasty. We haven't decided which one.
That was a powerful
pull for it.
That was
a hard laugh.
So
That was a wheeze.
that would also be the downside of losing.
Oh
it.
god.
that was
a rough laugh. That hurt.
Yeah.
All right, it was worth it though. Let's super chat.
Let's do some super chats.
Can I put a Smay chat in real quick?
Sure. What's your Smay chat?
Just a Smay chat. Have put a 1 in chat if you guys have played Decentraland. I just want to know. I just want to do a poll.
I have not played Decentraland.
Okay. There we go. Now continue. I just want to know. I want people to put it in the chat.
Full shave at 1 million Night Oakcast?
Full shave at 1 million subs.
Yes.
If we do it by my birthday in March 28th, if we have 1 million subscribers, I will clean shave.
Oh.
Yes.
Ooh.
All right, no, we have a super chat, but before we do the super chat, I actually want to read this because I'm interested. I want to go back to look at the charts. Chaz just commented. Chaz, longtime viewer, thank you so much, man. I know you're a great critic of the show. When we do a good job, you praise us. When we do a bad job, you critique us. So I love getting to read your comments. He said, Jebb and Tim, look at the daily chart on Bitcoin. I see a 71-day wave pattern that is repeated twice and is looking to start again today. That is interesting. I will definitely have to come look at this. Are you on Jebb's chart?
I am looking at it. I'm not sure. I believe I know what he's talking about. I'm trying to find it. Yeah, so basically what he's saying, I believe what he's saying is that from bottom to bottom was 71 days here from July 21st when the rally started to the next rally on September 30th. And then if you measure again, we're basically there. That is true, but markets, the thing you got to remember about markets is that markets often rhyme, but they very rarely repeat. So I think that that's interesting, but I wouldn't put too much stock in that.
Yeah, what's interesting to see is what happens 71 days back from that. 71 days back from that was pretty darn close to that massive crash in May. And then 71 days back from that, which the magic number might not be 71, but it's a region. 71 from that is closer to
the top at 60.
Not quite 60,
58.
but it's actually the dip right after the second peak of that little bull run. Back in around the 2nd of March, where we rallied up and set our new all-time highs there. So, you know what, Shaz? We will keep an eye on that. I'll do even more look. That's a really interesting concept and I've thought. I'll look more into that and see if there's anything to it. We do have a super chat from Murray Ruggiero saying, isn't Bitcoin just math? If everyone went to buy $10,000 worth of Bitcoin in even just the USA, wouldn't it go to $100,000 tomorrow? If everyone bought $10,000 worth of Bitcoin,
all 330 million Americans, including children and 100-year-olds, then yeah, it would definitely go to $100,000.
And then also, the other problem is
more than that.
We also have to have some selling going on in there. So because there's not enough Bitcoin for every American to buy $10,000 worth, and no one have sold it.
Well, actually, hold on. Well, this is where you get. I don't know. This might be just me being really stupid, but. If everyone, well, just wait for the question.
Okay. Well, you haven't heard the question yet, so you don't know if
every single person in the United States had Bitcoin, would it still be would it actually go up by that much? Because then I feel like, I don't know, if everyone somehow was able to buy Bitcoin, I feel like it wouldn't be as valuable anymore.
You know what? It is a stupid question. I guess we should know.
Okay, whatever. Never mind. All right.
Of course it would go up. That's supply and demand economics.
But everyone would have it.
Man, I don't know what.
I don't know.
Yeah, what? Everybody has gasoline in their car. That doesn't mean the price is zero.
Maybe I'm just misunderstood.
Okay.
Here's a question from Carlos C.
Maybe I'm just misunderstood.
What's going on with DOT on the 18th of December?
I don't know. Is there something happening to DOT on the 18th of December? Is there a...
I do not know.
I do not know.
That's a question I don't know the answer to.
I don't know what's happening
on
you're
the
the
DOT
December.
guy. And
you're the DOT guy.
18th?
Probably another parachain auction or something like that, but I'll have to look into it.
I mean, simple Google search right here.
Yeah.
Cool beans. All right, what else we got?
That was all the super chats.
That was all?
So he's doing a Google search.
Dang, we never get through all of them. Cool. Well, there is some interesting discussion that we need to have here. There is a article here that you can see on my screen. Guatemala growth in remittances ebbs in October. Remittances totaled US dollars $1.133 billion in October, representing a 13.3% year-on-year jump, which follows September's 17.8% year-on-year surge. On a 12-month moving average basis, remittances reached US dollar $110 billion in October, above the USD 10.8 range to the prior month. Remittances are a key source of income for the Guatemalan families and tend to follow employment trends in the United States. You can see that the amount of remittances going to Guatemala has massively increased. Now, one of the things... Last year, yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that we're looking at right now is WhatsApp is trying to move in the direction of crypto upgrades with Guatemala so that there is remittance capability for WhatsApp between the United States and Guatemala. So the question that I have here is, do you think, because Facebook obviously owns Facebook owns WhatsApp, and they're trying to get into this remittances world. Do you think, Tim, that Facebook is trying to become one of the big power players in decentralized finance over the next couple of years? Because they're moving into metaverse. They've obviously done things with Libra and cryptocurrency projects in the past, and now it looks like they're trying to get WhatsApp in the direction of crypto. What do you think Facebook is trying to do to set themselves up for this?
I think they're trying to stay relevant. Is ultimately what
Got
they're
him.
doing.
Got them.
They're losing pretty badly. So why stonks?
I don't know. I felt like it was.
You just wanted to hit a button.
He just wanted to hit a button.
Yeah.
It felt appropriate. I don't know. Keep going.
I don't know. The truth is, that commercial scared the crap out of me.
That commercial was creepy. That commercial was an
acid trip. It didn't make me want to buy anything that they were doing.
Well,
that made me want to run.
I mean, let's be honest.
But you're talking about it. That's a good point.
That's a good point. Teach them with the.
Now I'm not going to sleep tonight because we.
And now I'm not going to sleep tonight. Well, nobody can sleep tonight because they're all on Facebook. That's the problem.
All I'm saying is, you know what I've been missing my whole life.
What?
The ability to use hand gestures in a virtual meeting.
That's what I've been missing. That's the problem.
Guys,
that's the problem that I need
feel like
solved.
we've been so held back by Zoom and so on. I need to be able to glitch around a room and wave my hands.
I need to
have my mouth out of sync. That's what I need.
Yeah. No, what was that game that everybody was playing like a year and a half ago?
VR chat. It's
VR
basically
chat.
VR chat.
Everybody's playing VR chat.
Well, so this is, I don't know. This is where I think you can make an argument that I'm biased. But so we were joking about it. I was like, the fact is, the technology for that kind of video call has existed for a very long time at this point, and no one's been using it.
Yeah, for real.
So, like, why all of a sudden now that Facebook's doing it, people are going to start using it? I don't understand. I mean, I don't think it doesn't make sense.
I think Facebook moving in the direction of metaverse is not gonna do anything for them. I think it is a last ditch attempt to stay relevant, like you said. I mean, Tim, do you think it's gonna work? Do you think people are gonna put it this way? Because they have this vision that in 5 years, all these people that are trying to remote work are gonna be able to have all these conferences in VR, and then they're all gonna be shaking each other's hands with some kind of little wand, and it's gonna be great. Like, do you think that businesses are gonna move in this direction? Because they're not really trying to target the retail. They're really trying to target businesses. We run a business. I don't think that we would do that. Do you?
What happens if your VR headset dies in the middle of a meeting?
All I'm going to say is I've seen, we were looking at it the other day, I've seen what that product is, and I can tell you that product is not going to get used. The concept someone will make better, whether that's Facebook or somebody else, and I think whether I think we should use it or not, I think people will use it because it's cool, but what Facebook made was not that cool. When people upgrade it, when people make it better and use the same kind of thinking, that's when I think people potentially will use it. We are moving to a world more so day after day where we are pulling ourselves farther apart from each other rather than really like I grew up, and it's funny, I'm not that old, but my parents left us in the Stone Ages for a while. I grew up. I think I was literally 18 or 19 before we had caller ID. Like, you had to pick up the phone to find out who was calling. You couldn't just say, "Oh, I don't like who's calling. I'm gonna hang up on them." You know, we still like did
caller
things
ID,
like,
man, I feel old.
I didn't have cell phones growing up, and I didn't have them even until I think 16 or 17. So like, if you needed someone's attention, it was in the house, you walked over and grabbed them. We are moving to a place where in the same room, rather than shouting and wasting my vocal cords, I'm going to text the person just instead. And
people already do that. People do that for a decade.
The world is moving that way. So when you see those movies like Ready Player One, there's a part of you sits back like, wow, that's such a depressing, sad world. And it's like, oh no,
that's it. That is our
world.
No,
that is
what's
our world.
depressing is going to a meeting looking like a VeggieTale character.
No, what's depressing is going to a meeting looking like you're trying to play Wii Sports while you're trying to sign a $500 million contract. Like you're over there like, let's go play tennis.
Anyways, I think we've trashed it enough.
We've trashed it quite a bit.
With all that said, it's the 7th largest company in the world with $900 billion.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Okay, but they didn't do that doing VR. I mean, they bought Oculus, which was cool, which I have one, but
they wouldn't be making this investment just because they think it might work. They know it's going to work.
Well, what they're going to do is they're going to try and use that $900 billion market capitalization and their 50,000 employees to try and force it, but that's not, I mean, you know, there are a lot of $900 billion companies or the equivalent during their time that tried to force something and it didn't work. So we're going to see Microsoft was really the first software company and they started providing products that made people's lives easier. I don't know that what Facebook is building here is going to make anybody's life easier, more efficient. You know, this is something that I've learned a lot in business sales and business to business transactions. If you're trying to sell a business something, you can't just sell them something that's cool. Like business owners want their employees to be happy, but they need their employees to convert at a higher rate so they can meet their quarterly targets. So if you're trying to sell a product to a business, you can't sell something that they want. A lot of businesses might want this, but the question isn't do they want it? The question is do they need it? And I think the answer is no, personally.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the thing that you have to say, and this is the last thing I'll say about it, it's one of those things that like there's a reason why like I think art and such a powerful thing because it actually can shape the way we make decisions. And that's why we've seen Ready Player One. It exists. We know what the bad side of that will look like. And I think it's one of those things that people are going to actively be against going towards that mindlessly.
And I don't think it's not going to happen. I think we are going to see some development in the direction of metaverse, and I think metaverse is going to gradually happen. I just don't think it's going to be this overnight sensation that a lot of people think it's going to be.
Also, I don't think there's any projects right now that is doing it that's going to last.
Yeah. No, I think we are going to see something big happening in the next 10, 15 years, but I think I'd be surprised to see if Facebook was the one to do it. But guys, if you enjoyed today's stream, hit that like button. It really helps to support the channel whenever you do. Do we have any final really good super chats? Can you run through all of them real quick,
Well,
Tim?
just, people even commenting in chat. The 18th is the Parachain going live.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that's what's big right there. And again, that was I knew that was coming up soon. I didn't know it was the 18th. So my bad for not remembering the dates. 2 super chats that we have coming in. Motivation and Solutions just says SGT is the real squid token for the game. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. B13SR. Is that another child of Elon Musk? Great show as always, guys. Thoughts on Nervos CKB? Maybe not now, but for a future show.
Do you have any thoughts on that, T-Shroom? Have you looked at Nervos? No. I'm not familiar with
it. He said no.
No.
He said no. He said no.
That's what I got.
Cool beans. Well, guys, like I said, if you enjoyed today's show, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and make sure to follow all of us on Twitter. You can find me at CryptoJebb. Tim is at the Crypto_beard. Smay is
at Thicky Smay.
At Thicky Smay, and T-Shroom is T-Shroom, right? TSHROOM, right? Boom sauce. Guys, make sure to follow us all over there. That's all we got for you today. We got some cool content coming out over the weekend, though. I did an interview with Dan from Crypto Capital Venture. That will be coming out tomorrow. Don't miss that. It's a great interview. You guys are going to get a lot of value out of it. We got a lot of really cool content coming out over the next few days, and we don't want you guys to miss it. Before I go, though, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Oh, I got a real good feeling.